Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this important event, Entrepreneurship for Responsible Climate Action and Resilience, with an important subtitle, where we believe that the small-scale enterprises are really the game changers to reach net zero. And this is one of the elements that should be given more importance at meetings like the one we are gathering here at COP27. But of course, as you all might know, the SMEs are not so well represented, and I hope this event and others can give them more attention. Decision makers today struggle to prioritize the elements to act against climate issues, and the attention is rarely put on what we call the missing middle, the small and medium enterprises, which, as you all know, represent 90%, if not more, of the businesses and 50% of employment worldwide. SMEs are essential to the structure of all economies in all countries, and prioritizing SMEs and eco-inclusive SMEs in particular will help deliver the triple returns: economic, social, and environmental, in both the short and long term, driving the green recovery on the ground through their activities, products, and services. To that end, it's really crucial to empower the small and medium enterprises. Together with selected innovative enterprises, ecosystem platforms, and organizations working on more social, green, and sustainable markets and policies, this event will highlight the fundamental role of small private sector actors in climate adaptation and mitigation, and in the circular economy. You should know that the discussion, if you are following here on the COP, the discussion on the climate adaptation are very tough, and trying to see how we can get those compensatory budget. And the discussion were late even yesterday night. So from our perspective, we try to see how this good and excellent work done by innovative SMEs can be scaled up in order to have all together through collective action and impactful transformative action to deliver on on low carbon economies. Without any further ado, let me introduce my colleague Adrianna Zacarias from UNEP-GO4SDGs to make her introduction. And I will put you the PowerPoint.
Thank you very much, Arab. On behalf of the United Nations Environment Programme, I want to welcome you all and thank you for joining us in this side event. We welcome you all that are attending the COP in person, but also the other participants that are joining us virtually. We are really very pleased to be partnering with the SEED, with my dear colleague Arab in the organization of this event. But more than that, we are really pleased for this long-standing partnership between SEED and UNEP. And I want to congratulate again SEED for the 20th anniversary that you are celebrating this year. I'm Adrianna Zacarias. I'm working in UNEP. I am leading a global initiative called Global Opportunities for Sustainable Development Goals, better known as GO4SDGs. And one of our three key activities in GO4SDGs is to support SMEs for the innovation and transition to circularity. So in this, we have joined forces, SEED and GO4SDGs, in supporting the work of SMEs. Now, we have been listening now at COP the urgency that we have for action to address climate change. There are many, many challenges, and there are calls for all actors to address these challenges and actions. But SMEs are, as Arab said, a very important actor. We believe that they are a game changer in this transition to a low carbon, inclusive, and economic transformation that we want. And in this, I mean, we have heard the relevance, and I'm sure you all know the relevance of SMEs. They represent globally, they are responsible of hiring 50% of the global labor employment that they generate. In emerging economies, they generate around 40% of the GDP. And if we go one back, and they are also generating 1 out of the 10 new employment. So At the same time, they are also responsible for emissions, for resource use, and for pollution. We know that in industrial carbon emission, they represent 60% of these emissions. So that's why it is so important to work on that. And I'm really happy to say that during this year, we have been working together to develop the Sustainable SMEs Action Agenda. We are launching this agenda today here during this event. I'm going to present it. So now, Ada, we can move to the other one. So what is this agenda, this SMEs Action Agenda? First of all, is starting with the belief, as I mentioned, that we think SMEs are a game changer for this transition, that they can help to move to a low carbon, to a net zero, to a more inclusive development, and they have a lot of solutions. So we are not starting from scratch. This agenda has been developed with the collective experience that SEED has, UNEP, GO4SDGs. We have, and what we do is synthesizing insights on how can we scale green SME support by the 2030. We're looking at this, how to enable SMEs to be really game changers. Second, how can we build and empower the SME support ecosystem? And the third one is, how can we scale up SMEs' potential to deliver the 2030 agenda? So we have some insights there, but then we wanted to validate this with a multi-stakeholder consultation. So during this year, we did 4 global Future Lab innovation and policy innovation labs in 4 regions. We work with Africa, West Asia, Asia, and Asia Pacific, and Latin America and the Caribbean. And in these regions, we were looking at high impact sectors, agri-food and textiles, as you can see on the screen. Now, the next slide. Thanks, Araf. So what are the main things on this action agenda? Well, we are looking basically at 5 key action areas: innovation, non-financial support, financing, policies, and markets. So what we want to see is, okay, how can we support SMEs and the ecosystem in these 5 areas? Now, some of the key findings that we have, we know that SMEs, and we will hear, I'm sure, in the panel, they are very often pioneers in innovating, in creating new models. But what we find is that they need the technology partners and the networks that will help really to scale up those solutions. Second, in terms of non-financial support, it's very encouraging to see that now more and more SMEs have more access to the tools, to the guidelines, to capacity development, to have more tailored support for innovation, for circularity, for sustainable consumption, production. That's very good. And in the report, for example, you will see one of the tools that our partners, the Global Green Knowledge Platform, is developing, the Industrial Green Operation, IGO. So that's one of the, for example, tools that we identify. Now, the third one, in terms of financing tools, there are many, but often they really don't reach the needs of SMEs. They are either very big credits that they cannot access. So one key message here is that the financial tools need to be designed for and with SMEs. So they really are addressing their challenges, their needs, so that can also have more accessibility for them. Then in terms of policies, there are very good policies that governments can design, encourage some standards and regulations, but we also see that procurement is a very powerful tool that can also enable SMEs to be a key player in the market. And then the last one, looking at the market, I think we need to increase our efforts to make sure that SMEs can have better access in the market, that can be a bigger player in the supply chains. So this is in a nutshell the findings. As I say, we are really happy to launch today. The report is here. I hope you read it. We have the link there. Now, This report provides for us a roadmap for action to support and give a more tailored support to SMEs, to green SMEs. So it's the SMEs that are already starting in this path. We believe could have a very good contribution to meet the Paris Agreements, the Sustainable Development Agenda. And I want to highlight it provides also action areas, not only for SMEs, but also for policymakers and for other organizations that are providing support to the SMEs. This is also laying out the roadmap for our joint initiative that together with SEED we are doing. We are developing the Coalition for Innovation, Circularity and Entrepreneurship. So with this coalition, we want to put into practice to start implementing this roadmap so that it doesn't stay only in paper. And in this, I want to highlight the platform. The coalition is open to any partner to join and to bring their tools so that we can really scale up the support for SMEs. With this, Arab, I want to stop and I give the floor back. And again, I think on behalf of SEED and GO4SDGs, UNEP, we want to invite you to read the report and also join us in our collective work. Thank you.
Adrianna, thank you very much for your introduction, and thank you for ending up by the Coalition for Innovation, Circularity and Entrepreneurship, which has been launched yesterday in English and will be launched this afternoon in French here at COP, and with various partners, all UN agencies and other partners who really expressed great interest on getting in this movement together. Without any further ado, let me now give the floor to, before telling the person, to an institution and a country without which SEED would not exist. Germany has initiated SEED, has created SEED together with United States Department in 2002. Then UNEP, UNDP and IUCN agreed to have the program working on, and for 20 years, Germany and BMU has been behind SEED and the main pillar of SEED. Others have joined, but it remained the core pillar for it. And for this, I'm first of all thanking Germany and BMU for that, and welcoming Timon to say a few opening words.
Right. Thank you so much, Arab. Thank you for the kind introduction. My name is Timon Lepold. I work in the German Ministry for the Environment, where I coordinate our international efforts on circular economy and resource efficiency. It's great to be part of this event here today. As many of you know, small and medium-sized enterprises are the backbone of the German economy. As we've heard from Arab before, this is true for most economies around the world. SMEs combine a unique set of characteristics that make them an indispensable part of the sustainability transition. Their agility, creativity, and purposefulness are key drivers of sustainable innovation. This is why it is important for us as a ministry for the environment, but also as a government, to support activities like the event today. One important aspect is, of course, resource efficiency and circularity, which is my area in the ministry. Actions in this area in SMEs bear large potential to save costs, reduce supply dependencies, drive innovation, and reduce environmental and carbon footprints of SME activities. Of course, SMEs can't do it all alone, especially in times of tightening economic conditions. They need support as well as ecosystem collaboration. I would like to give one example of how we support this in Germany. On behalf of the German Environment Ministry, the VDE Center for Resource Efficiency supports SMEs in becoming more resource efficient and circular through offering free online tours, tailored publications and videos, and hosting networks of front-running SME players. Many of their products are available in English too. Circular economy and resource efficiency are, of course, only one puzzle piece of the larger picture. The event today will touch upon the topic circular economy, biodiversity, and clean energy. One thing is clear: only together we can reach net zero. Only all of these puzzle pieces combined will lead us to the full picture. This is why I'm very much looking forward to learning about the examples and solutions we'll hear about today. Thank you, and back to you, Arab.
Thank you very much, Timon, and thank you for making it almost after landing from the plane, because I know that you arrived in the middle of the night. So really, thank you for making it, and I look forward to seeing you today and tomorrow. And thanks again for the great support from the Minister of Environment of Germany. And I reiterate it, without which there would have been no seed. So we hope you will continue with us, with seed, and with the coalition afterwards. Now, let me go back to the screen and have my slides, my introduction myself. So I'm the executive director of SEED. I'm previously working for many years with United Nations Environment Program. Let me tell you a few words about SEED and the achievements and the reasons for this gathering, and how much we have been turning around the challenges into opportunities through the SEED activities. So after 20 years, as Adrianna reminded us, we are celebrating the 20 years of SEED this year. After 20 years, we have really understood, realized, and get all the necessary elements to demonstrate that the work SEED has been doing and is still doing uh, uh, is more relevant than ever for innovative small and medium enterprises if you want to find and build future-proof solutions, exactly the one that we have been doing together with GO4SDGs under the 4 labs that Adrianna had mentioned. SEED has been launched 20 years ago. I said it earlier, basically to see how we can promote social and environmental entrepreneurship, not to just business. It's really, while we have to ensure business, we should not neglect the social and environmental entrepreneurship. And I have seen here, while I'm at COP, various discussions on how to support the small and medium enterprises, but only looking at the business model. And when I ask them, but what about the social and environmental issues? It was like, okay, we will see next. It cannot be seen next. There's a problem somewhere. The interest of the work that SEED has been doing, that it has been evolving. Over the 20 years, we have been learning by doing, adapting to the needs of the different small and medium enterprises, taking them to the next level depending on where they were in the business model and so on, and through replicator, catalyzer, accelerator, ensuring that they can effectively deliver a step further. And for this, we have been able really to develop a tailored toolkit that is available there in support to small and medium enterprises. But once you have done that, we're working with the small and medium enterprises, you have to absolutely look for multi-stakeholder policy and finance lab to see how you can build better the ecosystem around them. And in order to ensure that there will be some continuity and sustainability of what we are doing, we are very keen in working on train of trainers to have local hubs in the country that will take over and continue the work, so that we can further build the resilience of the small and medium enterprises that will contribute to the resilience of the country. And for this, we need to have this collective action platform. So if we want to summarize what SEED has been and is today, we started first on really focusing on the enterprise support program, better understanding them, see how we can take them to next step. But quickly, we realized that we need to understand better the ecosystem around them in order to make sure that the policymakers give due attention to the small and medium enterprises and embed entrepreneurship in their policy. We have to see also how the financial system can adapt to the needs of small and medium enterprises, adjust to their needs, and see how we can provide them with alternative funding and so on. And once we have done these 2 boxes better in a certain way, the enterprise ecosystem, we are now willing to and mature for scaling up. And that's exactly the purpose of the coalition that we are referring to see how altogether we can effectively scale up toward this transformative impact. Adrianna referred to these points as the element of the conclusion of the report, the SME Action Agenda, where we're focusing. I will not go much in detail here, but it's important after the 20 years of SEED, we have identified 5 work areas that are extremely important, focal areas to support the small and medium enterprises. First, innovation. SMEs do innovate, and we have to support their innovation in order to take them to the next step. But before talking also about finance, we have to make sure that they are they are financially literate, they have the right non-financial support, they have the right business model, they have the resilience, so that they can become more credible when they discuss with the banks and look how the financial system can support them. And of course, as we said, we need to look at the ecosystem perspective. So what is the policy, how the government is understanding them, what kind of support they can provide them to bridge the gap between action and policy. And finally, the market. At the end, there is business, and we want to see how to make this accessible to the small and medium enterprises. So over those 20 years, SEED has really demonstrated that it makes good environmental, social, and economic sense to support the small and medium enterprises. And it is clear even more and more now with the crisis we have around and through COVID, that the eco-inclusive enterprise build community resilience alongside the national resilience. Meanwhile, from the time SEED was created, there has been more and increasing awareness about the role of small and medium enterprises as key cornerstone for circular economy and sustainable development. Various intergovernmental organizations, business network, large companies are caring more and more about small and medium enterprises, many stakeholder action, but generally these remain very nascent initiative, not much connected, little synergy between them. And to discuss about this, to see how we can effectively improve the knowledge and the synergies, we have here with us a wonderful panel. When you look at the composition, 3 entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, who will share their experience with us, less challenges, opportunities, in relation here, focusing on the climate issue and the climate relation issues. And to comment on that, to add their perspective, we have representative from the business network, representative from a global entrepreneurship center that is now trying also from their side to see how they can better support the small and medium enterprises. And last but not least, an international government, an IGO, UNDP, who has a huge program in support to small and medium enterprises, and particularly a recent addition, I would say, linked to the digital system and how to support the small and medium enterprises. So without any further ado, I will call in the panelists on the screen, and I hope Sean, you can put them back. Okay, thank you. I took my team out. Okay, we seem to have a small problem probably with one of the okay, I understood that Mukisa Emmanuel from Uganda is not here. Okay, we work with what we have, and thank you for joining us. Brighton, has your connection improved, even without a video? Do you hear us? Can we start with you?
I think maybe it's, I don't know if you can hear you. I can hear you this side now.
Okay, we do hear you. We do hear you. So let us start with you, since now the connection seems to be a bit better. Let us start with that. And can you please tell us how your business in Kalahari, Botswana, how your business approach is linking to climate change? How are you contributing to climate mitigation and adaptation in your work? And what has been your challenges in succeeding to do your project? What main obstacles you find, and how were you able to solve them? If you can speak as long as your mic is okay.
Thank you so much, guys. It is a great pleasure to be in this panelist, representing Botswana and representing Africa. As Kalahari, we are approaching this climate adaptation by engaging with the communities. We use life fences in order to mitigate between the wildlife and the environment that they are living in. We are doing that by building the beehives around the farms and around the communities so that they can expel elephants from entering the fields and destroying the fields, so that the communities can also harvest. By doing that, we also contributing towards food security bees are good at pollinating plants, and we also trying to plant as much trees as we can so that we can build the greenhouse around our communities. So we have a bit of challenges in terms of reaching out the deep in the Kalahari desert communities. As you know, Botswana is very big, and the road networks are not that much, but with the help of some organizations, we are able to reach some of the communities. So the obstacles that we are facing, if we can have enough capacity in terms of finances, and reach more communities deep in the Kalahari.
I understand very well this request at the end, but can I ask you if is there a market for the honey that comes from your beehives? Have you identified a local or a national market opportunity there?
I'm struggling to hear from my side.
Do you hear me? Brighton? Okay, if your connection improves later on, you can come at a later stage. I will ask the question after I will turn from other colleagues. Let me now move to Mrs. Hana Purnawarman from Sampangan Entrepreneurship SME from Indonesia. Hana, the same for you. I mean, what is in your business that is really relevant to climate actions, mitigation, and or adaptation? And what has been your main challenge and obstacles on the way to make sure that your business becomes successful?
All right, thank you for the questions. So the problem that we are tackling is basically waste. So, as you know, everywhere in the world, waste is just very abundant. And especially in Indonesia, there's a lack of infrastructure to manage and process waste. And also, in terms of the government budget and policy, not much is put for waste processing. So our solution is that we created technology called the Magic Box that can convert all types of waste unsorted into new materials such as activated carbon and liquid smoke, in which we are using them in agriculture and sanitation.
But what type of waste are you talking about? Is it organic waste from the farming system, or are you confronted with the difficult issue of the plastic waste?
So for us, the challenge is not the type of waste because we are able to process any kinds of waste from organic to plastic. So our technology is able to process everything into new products. However, the challenge is that the waste management industry is not mature yet, especially in Indonesia. So there's not really any support from the government and even businesses because there's no policy that requires them to be sustainable in terms of waste management. So that's where we find issues, not really about the type of waste itself.
Okay, since Emmanuel from Uganda is not connecting, I know that you had a PowerPoint. You wish to present it?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Please come in.
All right. So I will talk about our innovation, which is the Magic Box. So yeah, as I've said before, the problem that we are tackling directly is the waste because of lack of waste processing infrastructure and basically lack of concern and care from all the way from people to the government as well. But we do have a solution, which is this carbonization machine that we call the Magic Box. And why is it magic? Because we can convert absolutely any types of waste into new materials. And this is how it works. So we take in waste from any kind of sources, and we process it with our technology, and then we produce these products such as activated carbon and liquid smoke and biofertilizer. So we have been using this in agriculture and sanitation during COVID, and also a lot more, like, for cleaning agent. The market for our business is actually really big. So for waste processing itself, it's a multi-billion-dollar market in Indonesia, and that is not including the circular economy market, which is, from the sales of the products that we produce. But basically, we have two business models that we have proven to be profitable, at least on the product sale. So the first one is the waste processing service, in which we provide waste processing, and the second one is the selling of products from the products of the waste processing. But because of, the lack of concern with waste processing, we really cannot rely on this first business model. So that's why we really focus more on the second one, which is selling the products. And in terms of SDG, just by operating our business, we are directly contributing to these goals. So today we have processed around 250,000 tons of waste. And yeah, so basically the recurring challenges that we've been facing, at least in Indonesia, is again, the lack of support from the government, which makes people and businesses also don't really care too much about waste. But if we really want to tackle this climate change, everybody needs to work together. And yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You highlighted the usual points. We know no government support, funding, not much interest to that, and that's one where we're also making this this event and others. But you said also that it's really a huge market. You have I will say, a good technology, probably the right technology to handle things. So besides government interest, how much can you reach out to the other business to see how you can scale up and multiply what you are doing? And probably then the government might understand that there's something good there out of there for which they have to provide more attention. Is there such an opportunity for you to reach out to the business network, to other small and medium enterprises? Because government support, it's the same problem everywhere. It might take ages to come in appropriately, but you cannot wait, and you have not waited. You have been doing things yourself. So how much by networking and you can have the multiplier effect?
Yeah, so we are doing this with a backward strategy. So instead of, approaching it from waste processing, we're approaching it from selling products instead. And that's how we can stay sustainable as well. Because if we only rely on waste processing, it's not going to be economically sustainable. So yeah, that's why actually the core of the business right now is just to sell products first. And over time, when we can show the portfolio of, like, hey, we can sell all these products from waste, then maybe they'll be more interested.
I've seen in one of the slides Brazil at one point. Does it mean that you have already convinced Brazil, or you are partnering with Brazil to do something similar?
Yes, but it's another SME as well. So we have a partnership with a business in Brazil, in which we do a pilot project.
Very well. So opportunities for scaling exist there. You just need
Yes.
to have more attention. Okay, thank you very much. I believe Mazika did not join us. Oh, Mukisa is here. Do you hear us, Mukisa? Emmanuel? Emmanuel, do you hear us? Okay, look, stay online. Uh,
Business in
do you hear
Brazil,
us?
in which we do a pilot project.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Very well. So yes, we do. For scaling
Hola,
exist there. to have more attention. Okay, thank you very much. I believe Mazika did not join us. Oh, Mukisa is here. Why do I have this over sound, Shan? Okay. So, Emmanuel, do you is your connection good? Do you hear us? Otherwise, we go to another one.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. So, can you please tell us briefly from your side how your Clinela Solar enterprise has contributed to the objectives of climate mitigation, climate adaptation, and what has been the main challenges you have been facing? Emmanuel?
First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to be part of this great forum. Hello,
Yes, we do. We will go on.
hello. Yes, I was saying thank you so much for the great opportunity that I'm able to be here, sharing about climate action. So as Clinela, we are mitigating, we are doing, it's actually basically Clinela, first of all, is a customized solar component, basically for maternal and child health in off-grid remote areas to help those maternity centers to have a reliable source of light, okay, during when they are doing their deliveries, like delivering the mother, they have energy to power things like the fetoscope to check the status of the baby before delivery, and basically to have a very bright area or place of the hospital which has enough bright light so that they are able to conduct their deliveries properly. So it's basically a customized component, but tailored for only maternal and child health in off-grid remote areas. Now, the component, of course, it has solar panels, it has fetal monitors, it has a charging component, and so it has also lights which we put there to help in the lighting, and so very bright and reliable 24 hours. So coming to the climate actions, Clinela Solar, of course, we improve the quality of maternal and child care and energy poor regions of the country, that is Uganda. The statistics we have over 50 public health centers which are not powered across the country. That is our own statistics. We don't know how the country is for now, but our own survey. So we were looking at how we can power those public health centers which are carrying out maternal services. So me being a doctor, I have worked in remote areas and I have conducted deliveries in very, very um, remote situations whereby you are using candles to tell the nurse, please shine here. I want to see the baby coming out properly. So it was so traumatizing, and I came up with that idea. Simple one, but trying to really provide something and also to remove the hazardous sources of light like kerosene, using lanterns and maybe torch flashlights, which are so rudimentary and unhealthy. Yeah, so we are doing that to those community centers, and so also we are doing a positive impact through introduction of safe, reliable light, of course, to our doctors and midwives, and we are also diversifying energy, and of course also we are reducing on the hazardous fuels like paraffin and petrol, which are so toxic to our environment. So the challenges costs are a bit high. Some of these components we import them, so the cost of production becomes a little bit high, and so the end product also becomes a little bit expensive some of these health centers we are looking out for. Of course, our system, being a solar system, is dependent on weather. So when it's a rainy season, obviously the power storage and all that production from the sunlight will be a little bit low. And so you may find that the hospital or the health center cannot use our component for 24 hours. So we are affected by the rainy season. Then, of course, we have so many uncertainties when it comes to technology. People cannot, some of these health centers are not, uh, they have not bought or accepted the technology within the Clinela Solar component. So you find a bit of so much convincing and so helping the client or the hospitals to accept the technology that comes with our component. And so also the demand uncertainty, okay? And then also we have policies. You find too much taxations, okay? And then you also find that maybe the government policies are also not SMEs to have maybe reductions or price reductions or incentives when you are procuring these products. So basically, at the end of the day, you find our system becoming a little bit expensive and costly to our customers. Thank you very much. Unless there are other questions,
Thank
just try to maybe answer what I was told.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel, and congratulations for your initiative. Really brilliant to courageous to do this kind of initiative in those remote areas in Africa. It's very surprising that the government does not give any help because this is primarily something that could be included in the procurement process and give some specific advantages for initiative like yours. So have you been approaching the government? Have there been opportunities for others to take it up from you? Because you cannot on your own cover all the maternities throughout Uganda. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, please. Did you hear my question? So we can reply quickly.
Kind of ask again. Sorry,
Okay,
I beg your pardon.
why the government is not really following such an important social initiative, and how can you scale up to other regions?
Oh, yes. Well, with the government, we are still talking negotiations, especially with the Ministry of Health, to see how they can incorporate the Clinela Solar Park in line with the maternal and child health services. So we've had a preliminary discussions with the Ministry of Health and see how they can maybe come on board and support our initiative. But as for now, I cannot say that we have a positive feedback, but at least we have had a positive engagement with the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health. And then the other thing about scaling, yes, we have a very strong mind or goal to scale to other regions, but we want to first make sure the 50 surveyed public health centers in Uganda, which are in off-grid areas, are being powered fully. Then we can look up to get opportunities to
Okay,
other regions nearby, like Congo.
okay.
One
Thank you
last
very much,
time,
Emmanuel. And
point.
yes,
I would like to thank SEED for coming out, support us, and we've been so helpful. We have modified our product. It looks now more lighter. I wish I could show you now. I don't have it here, but I thank SEED for coming up to help Clinela Solar, and we are going to go further.
Okay, and we sincerely wish you all the best and success, and we will see through our networks if any support can come in. Let us now come to the second part, and I'm sorry for all this delay and technical problems. Michael, from the European Sustainable Business Federation, you heard SMEs, their problems in Africa, in Asia. You have probably similar problems in Europe, but not in the same context. So can you tell us how your network of Ecoproneur is dealing throughout the SMEs with these climate issues, climate agenda, and what type of support is provided to the challenges?
Yes, thank you, Arab, and thanks for the invitation. I think it's a very topical issue that we're discussing here today. But I think we should really, it is lacking the global perspective very often. We are all concentrated on our own countries, continents. So what we do, to respond to your question, what we do at Ecoproneur, obviously we represent the sustainable front runners, the truly circular sustainable businesses in Europe. We are a federation, which means we have 7 national member organizations in France, Germany, in Austria, the Netherlands, Sweden, Belgium, and Estonia lately. So it's about 3,000 truly green, sustainable companies, and most of them are SMEs. About 100 are major, bigger companies. But what we really see is that they're all struggling, of course, against some market forces, due to missing laws that basically promote their businesses. But it's also very often they're also suffering from a lack of know-how, or let's say of networks. It's very often they need more support. Financial support, obviously, but also support of know-how, of contacts, of resources to learn from each other. And this is really a very important point I would like to make today, that we are not only looking at our regions and countries and maybe only within Europe, but that we open up and share these existing resources and the know-how that we are making at all these levels together.
Thank you very much. Thank you for what is you're doing with your Ecoproneur. We see that there are similar problems, as I said, in different contexts. And I hope that there will be opportunities to learn from what we call the global south and the global north, because there are definitely good cases in both regions that can be of interest to the others. But you have heard also, in most cases, the government in developing countries are not so careful about that. They don't give the right attention to that. While in Europe, in principle, we have more attention. So to what extent European governments in general do care about SMEs and provide them with a kind of support framework?
Yes, of course, there are various initiatives. The Green Deal, as we know, is a strategy, a growth strategy that really breaks down, or that is based on a green transition and the circular economy. So what they're doing for SMEs is, from our perspective, very importantly, strategies that support SMEs also in terms of financial incentives. We know about those laws that really promote to the internalization, as we call it, of costs. So we talk about EPR systems of certain taxes, financial incentives, really, that help companies that are taking the small and medium-sized companies who take the effort of transforming their processes, their products towards more circularity, that really help them also at the bottom line. So we really see at the EU level quite some positive momentum through laws that like EPR, public procurement, green public procurement, that really help them directly. But there are also, of course, programs that are put in place. From our perspective, not enough. but certainly also programs that that help them to gain these to build know-how for circular design, for example, very important. So we see for example, in the textile sector, we see the textile strategy. We have a sustainable product strategy in terms of waste regulation. A lot of things happen from a also systemic angle to address all these existing issues, to support also SMEs. And there's also the concept, of course, that SMEs are not overburdened with new administrative obligations. So that's why also we as Ecoproneur always keep an eye on new laws to see that they are not only manageable or that they can really be implemented, but that they're also useful, a very pragmatic approach.
Thank you very much. I mean, the EU has been leading by example throughout the world, and I hope that what they're doing under the Green Deal and other legislations, they can be translated slowly in the other part of the world. And I know that European Commission is keen about that in their collaboration with other countries. Thank you very much, Michael. Let us move to Fritz, the Global Entrepreneurship Center. You are, I would say, a recent center. You are young, even though you and I, Fritz, are old. But you're a young center, and you're aiming to really provide the support to small and medium enterprises. How do you intend to go by that, and what are your main objectives in this field coming newly in this context?
Thank you, Arab, and thank a lot for this introduction, Arab. Indeed, we are probably a bit old, but I think not too old to change this world. And congratulations to your 20 successful years, I think, and thanks a lot for this opportunity. Well, what is the Global Entrepreneurship Center? Well, we are an investor. We invest into startups to scale them up to successful SMEs, because we believe that we need more innovation to reach the climate and the Paris Agreement, the SDGs, and the circular economy. So we invest only in startups with green technologies, which will contribute to the achievement of this global agenda. We do this because we see there is not enough innovation coming from, let's say, from the bigger ones or from the existing industry, and there is too much innovation which is not making it to the market from the big research programs we have. Yeah, there is a big problem. Even in Europe, we have 40% of the global budgets in Europe for research, but only 10% of the risk capital. And only 1.5% of the European startups make it to the market. The rest, they stagnate or they fail. And I don't have the figures for the other continents. The US is 3 times more successful still. And I think that is why we are called global. We also intend to have a global impact and to support, let's say, entrepreneurs on other continents. Well, we do this in fields which are really problematic areas in terms of the global agenda, which is textiles, building and living, food and agriculture, and mobility. So startups can let's say, apply to our programs. We have a very strict assessment in terms of sustainability and climate and the climate objectives, and then we help them in a scale-up journey to go to the next investment round. Well, here was a lot of talk about government finance, but the government finance will not be the solution. Let's say we need a lot of private finance in order to scale SMEs up. Yeah, so it needs different vehicles also, which have a bit a different way. That is why we prepare at the moment a real Article 9 fund, which is a real dark green investment fund with 200 million euros, where we then can directly invest into the next, let's say, scale-up journey of the startups, and this is absolutely necessary. The a lot of private capital is risk adverse, too much, yeah. And we also need, you see, in order to bring new technologies really to the market, you need patient capital which doesn't want, let's say, very extremely fast returns on investment like a lot of venture capital does, yeah. So that is why we also have create this new dark green, let's say, fund, in order to have more patient capital to support the startups, because you know the new business models, we need the new business models to replace the old ones. And we therefore with let's say startups, we will create the new, let's say, SME world, let's say of the future. One activity we have at the moment is we try to open up a similar center in Nairobi, because it's a different story to support, let's say, African startups. But that is what we are on the way. It's a little bit more difficult. Therefore, you would indeed need to create this type of investment vehicle, also government money at the beginning, because the first investments, let's say, it's very difficult to come from the private side. But there is very good also private capital in Africa available. Probably it's not very well known, yeah, but it is there, and it is also accessible. But in order to access this capital, you know, SMEs and startups need good support, scaling support, and that is what we try to provide, that they can finally access the capital which is available, because the capital at the end of the day is not the problem; it's the problem to access it. Yeah. So that is our, let's say, that is basically our agenda.
Fritz, thank you very much. The element you raised would deserve a session on its own for more than 1 hour. Patient capital, focusing more on small and medium enterprises because they innovate more than the big ones today, and so on. And I hope that this network will be just a startup, and people will be who are connecting, who have listened to you and see what they can eventually access if it's possible. So thank you very much. We still have only 4 minutes to go, and I want to give the floor to Reina, Otsuka, who is waking up from early morning. So Reina, from the UNIDO perspective, I know you heard everything when the innovation and so on. Digital systems are extremely important. So how, from your perspective, you would be further supporting the small and medium enterprises in their journey to achieve and scale up?
Sure. Thank you, Arab. Good morning from New York, everybody. My name is Reina. I'm actually from UNDP. I think, Arab, you just said UNIDO because you're very used to UNIDO.
UNDP, sorry. No, UNDP.
Nice to meet everybody. Yes, so digital transformation is obviously a new trend that's coming. Everybody is feeling it, and it is also impacting everybody disproportionately. And as UNDP, we basically work with 170 plus countries and territories, which are emerging or developing countries. And in these countries, what we see is that the digital innovation is happening mostly in the most advanced countries, Europe, and of course, the US, China, and so what we're trying to do is really make sure, or try to have digital transformation affect all these countries in an equitable way. And so, for example, even one of the three panelists from the first part, like, for example, how do we reach different markets? Do we really want to create a huge road that reaches the rural areas, or can we try to digitize some of this service and reach a much bigger market outside of the country, for example? So it's really about how can we bring digital transformation to these countries, not just for the government, it's not just for the people, but in a holistic way. So the government needs to change, infrastructure must be there, regulation is important, and then the private sector capacity, as well as the people, do they have connectivity and do they have actual literacy, digital literacy? So we're trying to tackle all of these together in terms of digitalization. But while listening to this, the panels, it's really always inspiring to listen to people who are actually doing business. It's amazing to hear that you don't have a waste policy or a strong enough waste policy. So I started from selling it. That is entrepreneurship and that is innovation. And I think if there's one thing that the public sector can do, especially organizations like UNDP, there are, for example, climate policies, nationally determined contributions. All countries are trying to, during this COP, we're trying to, raise this ambition and try to implement all these ambition. And these policies could be channeled to enable innovation, right? Instead of regulating by saying, this technology must be used for waste management. Instead, can we come up with policies that say, it doesn't matter what route you take, but can you make a circular economy so that the waste doesn't get generated in the first place, or it's designed in a way that somebody like Hana can easily recycle it in a healthy way. So it's really time that we get together. I'm really inspired by the other panelists who spoke about their approaches, that we bring ourselves together and see how we can approach it from various directions, but all looking at the same direction. So I'm really actually interested to continue this
Reina,
discussion.
thank you very much. I don't know if you finished. Okay, no, because your image was frozen. Did you finish? Sorry.
Yes, yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, sorry, because it was frozen, so I don't want to make a mistake. So thank you very much. Thank you for this very inspiring introduction. And we will just have to, let me just check with the people, because we run out of time, but I ask them to kindly give us 4 minutes to conclude. I will just take 1 minute from my side. So can I ask you just really in 30 seconds, for the ones who are online and can speak, what do you wish to see achieved from your own perspective, if we say by 2000, in 5 years, or by 2030, which is the deadline that we gave for the SDGs and so on? What do you want to see as major achievement today? Just have a dream. And I will start with what we have, or what I have on the screen. Michael. You're mute.
Yes, and I found the unmute button. Thank you. No, if I had a magic wand, of course, there would be some global network of interconnected competence centers where people have free access to log in and really to learn from each other. So to breaking up the cluster, breaking up the silos, because we don't have so much time anymore to make this circular economy work. We need to be pragmatic and get connected.
Thank you. I lost you. Thank you very much. Fritz.
Well, my wish is that new green businesses, SMEs, have replaced the old dirty business models, and that we are going to a sustainable world.
And I hope that your center can contribute to that. Thank you. Emmanuel. You are mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please come in.
Yes, my view is, let's provide SMEs with an enabling business environment in which green ideas, innovations can be easily developed and financed and brought to the market. Because we face the challenges of having a rough environment where these SMEs can thrive. Political environment, public policies, and and the markets. So if we can have that kind of enabling environment by all players, then these SMEs can have these green innovations thrive and come up.
Thank you very much. And that's what you are trying all to do together, multi-stakeholder, bringing all stakeholders in order to advance together. And again, best wishes for what you are doing, which is really great in Uganda. Hana.
Yes, I would just say education. So if everybody knows what's going on in the world in terms of climate change, I think everything else would just fall into place.
Reina?
I don't know, I would say if everybody can unleash their creativity, if the society allows people to do that, that will be my wish.
Thank you very much. Now let me come back to my slide, if Shan, why I cannot put it? Okay, thank you. Very surprisingly, not surprisingly, because we did the assessment after mapping of what others are doing, your wishes are expressed here. I mean, that's exactly what we are aiming to do with this Coalition for Innovation, Circularity and Entrepreneurship. While we are supporting the innovations, which we are doing today, all of us, trying to see how we can better catalyze innovation, supporting the enterprises to access finance, alternative finance, working with financial system to effectively better consider the need of the small and medium enterprises, which we call the enabling services on which we are working. We absolutely need to have more education, more knowledge, generate more insight, so people know what we are talking about, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities, how can we share good lessons. And all this can only be done by curating collaboration, bringing the different partners together, government, international organization, local communities, and of course, small and medium enterprises, so that all together we can effectively increase the voice and the concern of small and medium enterprises and deliver what we want to have at a scale-up, impactful, transformative impact. That's what we are here for, here in COP, advocating for and promoting this coalition. And we hope you will be all active member of it. We will be working on the program over next year and try to see how we can work it with different partners. I really look forward to have you among us, and thank you for your brilliant ideas, and all the best to all of you. Sorry, Reina, we had you to wake up at 5 o'clock in New York. Thanks for all the others. Sorry for the technical problems. And thanks to Shan from the Wolf Digitals, who allowed us to take a few minutes more. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, and we will certainly have other opportunities to reconnect. Thank you.
Combating climate change is the biggest engineering project on the planet, and there are solutions. Because there is action. Braskem is removing CO2 from the atmosphere in the production of chemicals and plastics from plants, using more and more renewable energy sources,
improving the energy efficiency
of our industrial units, and developing technology to transform the greenhouse gases emitted into new products. Because there is only one way to make a more sustainable future. Together,